Have you ever found yourself in a situation where, despite your best efforts to live honestly and authentically, some people seem to dislike you for reasons that feel completely inexplicable? You go about your daily life, committed to doing your work well, treating others with kindness and respect, and staying true to your values. And yet you encounter those cold stares, whispered rumors, or subtle behaviors that signal a quiet but unmistakable hostility. You might overhear someone talking about you behind your back, feel their eyes darting away when you enter a room, or notice the way certain people seem to withhold warmth and support without any clear cause. This experience is all too common and often deeply painful, especially for those who stand out in some way: strong, independent women, creative souls, or anyone who lives unapologetically as themselves. This kind of negative attention can feel confusing and isolating. You might ask yourself, what did I do wrong? Or why don't they like me? But sometimes the answer isn't about your actions at all. Instead, it reveals more about the insecurities, fears, and limitations of those who choose to direct their resentment or hostility your way. In fact, many times, people who harbor such feelings are struggling with their own internal conflicts, and their negative behaviors are reflections of their dissatisfaction or inability to accept differences. So how can you protect yourself and respond wisely when faced with bullies or people who dislike you without reason? How do you keep your confidence and peace intact in the face of unwarranted negativity? More importantly, how do you maintain your self-respect and continue to thrive when confronted with such challenges? This guide is designed to walk you through these difficult questions. It aims to help you understand the underlying nature of bullies and haters, their motivations, their fears, and why their negative behaviors often say more about them than about you. From there, you'll learn practical strategies to respond with wisdom and strength, without stooping to their level or harming yourself in the process. You'll discover ways to safeguard your emotional well-being, so that the opinions and actions of others don't dictate your self-worth or disrupt your happiness. By cultivating self-awareness, setting healthy boundaries, and choosing your responses mindfully, you can transform these painful experiences into opportunities for growth. You'll gain the tools to rise above the noise and negativity, creating space in your life for relationships and experiences that truly nourish and support you. No one deserves to be the target of unwarranted hate or bullying, but everyone deserves to live a life filled with respect, kindness, and peace of mind. With the insights and guidance in this article, you will be better equipped to navigate these difficult encounters with grace, resilience, and an unshakable sense of your own value. 1. When you're hated without understanding why. It's a uniquely disheartening experience. You're living with integrity, being kind, staying in your lane, and yet negativity finds its way to you. Maybe it's through cold stares, passive-aggressive comments, whispered gossip, or the quiet but unmistakable feeling of being left out. You start to wonder, what did I do wrong? The confusion is often worse than the hostility itself. The truth is, this kind of experience is not uncommon, especially for people who dare to be themselves in a world that often punishes difference. If you're confident, if you speak your mind, if you carry yourself with self-respect, or even if you choose a path others don't understand, you might unintentionally trigger discomfort in those who haven't found the same courage. And sadly, that discomfort sometimes gets expressed as dislike, judgment, or even cruelty. Sometimes people respond negatively not because of something you did, but because of something you represent. Your presence might challenge their insecurities. Your confidence might feel like a mirror to their self-doubt. Your independence might threaten their need for control. And your authenticity might make them question the roles they're playing in their own lives. In these cases, the hate isn't really about you, it's about what you unknowingly awaken in them. This doesn't mean you should become cynical or assume the worst in others, but it does mean that not every hostile action deserves your emotional energy or self-blame. Learning to discern between constructive feedback and projected insecurity is key to preserving your peace. When you understand that some reactions are just reflections of another person's internal conflict, you begin to take things far less personally. It's also important to recognize that being disliked is not always a sign that something is wrong. It can be a sign that you're disrupting old patterns, challenging unspoken expectations, or simply refusing to dim your light to make others comfortable. That's not a flaw, that's strength. Still, this understanding doesn't always make the experience less painful. It's okay to feel hurt when people misunderstand or mistreat you. You're human. But let that pain be a signal, not that you should shrink yourself, but that you need to pour more energy into the people who do see you, support you, and celebrate you. Let it remind you to stay close to your truth, not twist yourself to fit someone else's comfort zone. Ultimately, being true to yourself is a courageous act. And sometimes, courage comes with friction. But don't let that friction convince you to change your core. You're not here to be universally liked. You're here to be real and to live in alignment with your values. The right people will recognize and respect that. And for everyone else, let their judgment roll off you like water off a raincoat, noticed, but never absorbed. 2. Understanding the nature of bullies and haters. They don't hate you because you're wrong. They hate you because you dare to be yourself. Many times, people dislike us not because of any mistake or wrongdoing, but simply because we are unapologetically ourselves. They see qualities in us that they lack: courage, confidence, independence, and it triggers their insecurities. Imagine someone who has always played it safe, never spoken up, or suppressed their dreams. When they meet a person who shines brightly, who embraces their identity fully, it can awaken feelings of jealousy and discomfort. This discomfort sometimes turns into resentment and hate. Hate is a reflection of their own unfulfilled desires. Sometimes hatred stems from a deep place of disappointment and frustration within the other person. They might see in you the qualities they once wished they had, or the life they dreamed of but never dared to pursue. Rather than confronting their dissatisfaction, they project it outward by criticizing or undermining you. This behavior serves as a defense mechanism to mask their vulnerability and pain. Lack of understanding and fear of differences. Another common reason people react with hostility is because they simply don't understand you. Human beings naturally fear what they don't know or comprehend. When someone's mindset or values differ greatly from theirs, some people respond with resistance or even aggression. This reaction often reflects their own limitations and perspective rather than any fault of yours. Remember, it's not your job to fit into their comfort zone. 3. How to respond wisely. Being strong without hurting others. Facing negativity doesn't mean you need to fight fire with fire. Responding thoughtfully can protect your mental health while maintaining your integrity. 3.1. Silence is not weakness. Sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. Choosing silence is a strategic act of self-care. It means you're saving your energy for what truly matters instead of wasting it on fruitless battles. Ask yourself before reacting, is this worth my energy? Will responding change anything positively? Am I seeking peace or just wanting to prove a point? If the answer is no, it's perfectly fine to stay quiet and focus on your own well-being. 3.2. Speak up calmly when necessary. There are moments when you must assert your boundaries or clarify misunderstandings. When you do, make sure to approach the conversation with calmness and clarity rather than anger. For example, I don't agree with what you said about me because it's not true. I expect that my personal boundaries will be respected. This approach shows strength and self-respect without escalating conflict. It also sets a clear boundary without personal attacks. 3.3. Don't retaliate, you're not them. Resisting the urge to retaliate can be difficult, but is crucial. Engaging in revenge or negative behavior only drags you down and feeds the negativity cycle. Instead, focus on living your values and showing your worth through actions, not words. When you succeed by being authentic and kind, it speaks louder than any argument. 4. Protecting your mental health. How not to let negativity affect you deeply. Your mental health is your greatest asset when dealing with difficult people. 4.1. Remind yourself, you don't live to please everyone. Accept that not everyone will like or approve of you, and that's okay. You don't need universal approval to have worth. 4.2. Enrich your inner world. Spend time on activities that nurture your mind and soul: reading, meditation, journaling, exercising, or exploring hobbies. These help build resilience and inner peace. 4.3. Surround yourself with positive support. Quality over quantity matters in friendships. Having a small circle of people who truly understand and support you can shield you from toxic influences. 5. Powerful messages to remember. In moments of pain or self-doubt, we need reminders, words that ground us. Truths that help us stay anchored when the waves of negativity threaten to pull us under. Here are some powerful messages to carry with you, not just as quotes, but as life principles to return to whenever someone tries to make you feel small. You cannot stop people from hating you, but you can always choose not to let them hurt you. You don't have the power to change every heart or correct every misconception. Some people will misunderstand you, judge you unfairly, or dislike you without reason, and that's okay. You are not responsible for fixing the way others see you. What you are responsible for is how much space you allow their opinions to take up in your mind. One of the most liberating things you can do for yourself. Peace begins the moment you stop trying to win the approval of those who were never meant to understand you. The best response to hate is to live so well that their noise becomes irrelevant. There's something incredibly powerful about living a life so full, so authentic, and so true to yourself that the voices of judgment and criticism become nothing more than background noise. When you channel your energy into growth, into building a life that aligns with your values and dreams, you automatically rise above the drama. You don't need to defend your worth or argue with ignorance. Instead, let your joy, your resilience, and your quiet success speak for you. Let your peace be louder than their hate. Never allow anyone to make you feel small or unworthy unless you give them that power. Other people can only diminish you if you let their words define your identity, but your worth is not up for debate. It is not something others can give or take away, it is something you carry within you. The moment you start believing that you are enough as you are, is the moment their insults start to lose their sting. No one can make you feel less than unless you hand them that permission. And from this moment on, you can decide to take it back. These messages are more than affirmations. They are shields, mental armor you can wear whenever the world feels harsh or unkind. Return to them when you feel weak. Whisper them to yourself when the criticism gets too loud. Write them down, post them on your mirror, repeat them like a mantra. Because the truth is, your life is too valuable, your presence too unique, and your spirit too resilient to be dimmed by someone else's projections. Hold your head high. Remember who you are, and let these words remind you of the strength you already carry inside. 6. Reflective questions to help you grow. Self-awareness is the first step toward freedom. In a world where not everyone will like you, support you, or treat you fairly, learning to pause and reflect on your own responses is a powerful act of personal growth. Instead of being consumed by what others think or say, try asking yourself the following deeper questions, not to judge yourself, but to understand and evolve. Are you currently enduring someone's dislike, or are you learning to rise above it? Sometimes we stay in situations where we're clearly not respected, hoping that things will change. But there's strength in recognizing when someone's opinion no longer deserves a seat at your emotional table. Ask yourself, are you tolerating mistreatment out of fear or habit? Or are you beginning to realize that you don't need everyone to like you in order to be whole? Learning to rise above negativity doesn't mean ignoring pain, it means choosing not to let it define you. When was the last time someone's words hurt you, and did those words really deserve your pain? Words can cut deep, especially when they come from people we care about. But not all criticism is worth internalizing. Reflect, were their words rooted in truth or insecurity? Were they offering honest feedback or projecting their own unresolved issues onto you? Sometimes we give too much power to people who are simply speaking from their own wounds. You don't have to absorb every opinion handed to you, especially not the ones that diminish your spirit. Have you tried focusing on your own growth instead of reacting to negativity? It's easy to get caught up in defending yourself, proving your worth, or clapping back. But what if you redirected that energy toward building the life you want? Every minute spent worrying about someone else's opinion is a minute taken away from your own journey. What does growth look like for you right now? More peace, more confidence, stronger boundaries? Sometimes the best response to negativity is not revenge, it's transformation. How does choosing silence or calm dialogue empower you? There's a unique kind of strength in not reacting impulsively. Choosing silence doesn't mean you're weak, it often means you're in control. When you pause instead of lashing out, or when you speak calmly instead of escalating tension, you send a clear message. My peace is non-negotiable. Reflect on how powerful it feels to respond with grace, even when you're hurt. It doesn't mean you're suppressing your feelings. It means you're choosing to rise above chaos rather than be pulled into it. These questions aren't always easy to answer, but they are necessary. Growth begins when we stop blaming others for how we feel and start taking ownership of how we respond. In the end, your healing, your joy, and your strength are your responsibility. The more honestly you reflect, the more clearly you'll see what needs to change and the more power you'll reclaim in the process. 7. Conclusion. Choosing peace and self-worth. At some point in our lives, we all encounter people who don't have our best interests at heart, those who talk behind our backs, diminish our achievements, or drain us emotionally while pretending to be our closest allies. The truth is, not every friend is meant to stay in your life forever. Some serve as lessons rather than lifelong companions. And learning to tell the difference is one of the most powerful acts of self-love. You cannot control who gossips about you, envies you, or manipulates you, but you can control how you respond. Do you continue to shrink yourself just to maintain harmony? Do you excuse hurtful behaviors just to avoid conflict? Or do you finally decide to choose peace over pretense? Choosing peace isn't about cutting everyone off or being cold. It's about honoring your emotional well-being, setting boundaries, and refusing to carry relationships that constantly feel heavy. It's about realizing that you don't have to entertain people who drain your energy just because you have a history together. That history doesn't entitle anyone to your trust if they no longer respect your heart. Sometimes the boldest, bravest thing you can do is walk away from a one-sided friendship and walk toward a life where you're surrounded by people who truly see, support, and celebrate you not just when it's convenient for them, but consistently, wholeheartedly, and without condition. So when you find yourself questioning a friendship, trust your gut. Your inner peace is too valuable to be negotiated. Let go of the people who keep showing you they don't value you. And make room for those who do. Because at the end of the day, life is too short to keep explaining your worth to people committed to misunderstanding you. Protect your peace. Honor your boundaries. Choose friendships that feel like home, not battles. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.